Hello and welcome to another segment in further mathematics. In this section we'll be looking at the topic basic concept of laws of indices. Now when we talk about the basic concept of laws of indices, it talks about the laws that guide the applications and the calculations that take place in indices. There are several of those laws that, if when properly applied, will help us into analyzing and solving so many indicator problem properly. For example, let's go into stating the various laws of indices. The first one here states that it's called the multiplicative law. Now the multiplicative law states that if you have a raised to the power m times a raised to the power n, it's equal to a raised to the power m plus n. So if you have the same base but with a different power, in as much as you have the base number to be equal in indices, all you just need to do is to pick up the basic term that is common between these, then you go ahead into adding their powers. So this is to say, for example, if I should give you 4 raised to the power 2 times 4 raised to the power 3 times 4 raised to the power 5, now the answer to this will be equal to 4 raised to the power 2 plus 3 plus 5, which is 4 raised to the power 10. That's what this law is trying to tell us. In as much as we have the same numbers, all we need to do is to add the powers. But if I have 4 here and have 3 or 2 here, we do no such thing. We will not consider it. It's not, if only they are equal. And this law is called the multiplicative law of indices. Now, number 2, let's go to the division law of indices. The division law. The division law of indices states that if you have a raised to the power m divided by a raised to the power n, then the answer becomes a raised to the power m minus n. Now when you talk about a raised to the power m minus n, you're trying to tell us that, you know, when we did multiplication, all we did was just to add, and now that we are doing division, all we did is to subtract. So if this one happens to be 3 raised to the power 5 divided by 3 raised to the power 2, our answer will now be 3 raised to the power 5 minus 2, which is equal to 3 raised to the power 3. That is for the second one. So each time we have division, all you just need to do is to pick one of the numbers, then you perform. If it's division, you do more subtraction. If it's multiplication, you do addition. So the next one in our list here is the power law. The power law. Now the power law of indices states that if you have a raised to the power m in a bracket n is equivalent to a raised to the power m n. Now at this point, your m multiplies with the n, and if m multiplies n, you now have mn here. So what this law is trying to tell us is that if you have let me say 2 raised to the power 2 in bracket 3, that it's equivalent to 2 raised to the power 2 times 3, so which is equal to 2 raised to the power 6. That's what the power law is telling us in indices. Now the fourth law, remember I'm stating all the laws of indices for you to use as a guideline. The fourth law is called the zero index law of indices. The zero index law. Now if we have a raised to the power m minus a raised to the power m, okay, divided by a raised to the power m, is equal to a raised to the power m minus m, so it's a raised to the power 0, and a raised to the power 0 is equals to 1. So this is to tell us that whatever thing that or any number you come across in mathematics, if it's raised to the power 0, then the answer is 1. So if I should write 50 raised to the power 0, the answer is 1. 1000 raised to the power 0, the answer is still 1. Even if I should change it to b raised to the power 0, the answer is 1. That is what the zero index law is telling us. Now the fifth law here is the product law. It's called the product law. Now what's it about the product law? The product law is just telling us that when you have a b raised to power m, it is the same as a raised to power m b raised to power m. So if we have x y raised to the power 2 is the same thing as x square y square. This is what the power law is trying to tell us. Number 6, we'll be dealing with the root power law. Now when you talk about the root power law, now the root power law on its own states that if you have a raised to the power 1 over n, it's the same thing as the nth root of a. So that is to say, if you have, okay, let's use 4 like a perfect square. 4 raised to the power 1 over 2 now it's the same thing as the square root of 4, which is 2. The same thing is applicable to when we are having 27 raised to the power 1 over 3 is equivalent to the cube root of 27, which is equal to 3. That's what the root power law is telling us. Now we are going down to the negative index. The negative index. Now when you talk about the negative index law, the negative index law said when you have index, talks about the power. If you have this, is equivalent to 1 over a raised to the power m. So if for instance you have 2 raised to the power minus 1, it's the same thing as 1 over 2 raised to the power 1. And if it is 2 raised to the power minus 3, it's the same thing as 1 over 2 raised to the power 3, which is equal to 1 over 8. And I think these are the basic laws that we really need, that will guide us when it comes to any form of calculation that involves indices. So with this, I want you to take a very good look at these laws. Make sure you memorize them, understand the concept in each of the laws. It will help us in our subsequent calculations in indices. Like you know very well that indices controls every other aspect of mathematics. So with this law, it will serve as a base for you to move into a higher position when it comes to mathematics. Now thank you for actually joining us in this lesson. To refresh your memory on what we've just discussed here, do yourself good by attempting the text that will be appearing very soon shortly on your screen.